Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. 6 wins in a row, you know. It's not 47 or whatever the heck we got to before, but that's okay. EC31F7B9. Great stats and a great risk right off the bat. Don't you dare. Spiders, I refuse. Pills, I will take because one of these, it was a duplicate, so we can't even open the other one. Don't even worry about it. I apologize, I'm a little hoarse. Not sickness, just like one of those. I say it all the time. I'm a creature of habit. I go to bed, you know, roughly the same time every night. If that gets disrupted by like a 45-minute window, my brain is just like, what the heck is happening? When am I supposed to go to sleep? And you send a message to your brain, and you're like, now. And your brain is like, now? Wait a minute, we want to stick with Crystal Ball. Well, we do want to stick with Crystal Ball, but we might want Mr. Meeseeks temporarily. Basically, like, you know, I went to bed like 45 minutes later than usual last night, and even though I was tired, my brain was like, instead of falling asleep, you ever get those, like, those have sleeps, where you put on, like, a podcast or something, and then, like, the next memory you have is 40 minutes later, and you remember nothing, but you also didn't really fall asleep? You know what I'm talking. It's when you, I'm sure everybody, you probably have it sometimes while you're watching my videos. You wake up to hear like, oh, if you enjoyed it, see you next time, and then like, you know, you're like, I don't even remember what the heck happened this episode. That's basically what happened to me last night. I mean, it's not like, you know, emergency rations. I still got like, you know, 5 hours of sleep, but it could have been better. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, it's all the mucosal membranes suffer when you don't sleep that well. I'll spare you the nitty-gritty about the lower GI tract. Excuse me, sir. He's done it. But you know, also the throat, you know, it gets used all the time. It's, you're breathing in all sorts of, you know, particulate from the environment. It gets stuck in there. You go to sleep, your body clears it out anyway. Today is Sunday. See, I almost forgot what freaking day it was. It's the final episode of Game of Thrones ever. No comment. More importantly, it means that yesterday was Saturday. It was my day off. What did we do? Oh, we got up to some shenanigans. Nah, I mean, I don't want to excite you too much. It sounds a little ridiculous. First off, I had a delicious Mexican brunch. Had a few street tacos. Stole at least half of my wife's chips and guacamole appetizer. It was a great time. What happened then? Went downtown, did a little window shopping. I don't really shop, but I'm a great shopping accompanier. It's not that I don't spend money in my life. I do spend money. I just don't have any attachment to things, if that makes sense. I was talking about it with Kate yesterday, because Kate was like, you know, you should get, like, some comfortable shoes, because we got a long flight coming up. I mean, I got comfortable shoes. We can get shoes that are, like, you know, just for flying, so they don't stink bad if you take them off or something like that. They also, you know, your feet aren't constricted over the course of, like, 12 hours of travel. And I was explaining, I was like, although the and I put on my presidential voice. Although the shoes would perhaps be more comfortable, and it's within our means to purchase them, they do not bring joy. Not only must I purchase the shoes, I must store the shoes. I must carry the shoes with me in our suitcase. The shoes take up space that could have been taken up by something else in our suit. You get the idea. That's my and I mean, having a specific pair of shoes just for the airplane is a little bit of a ridiculous analogy in the first place, but that's how I feel about, like, almost all possessions. And I'm not, like, an enlightened individual. I'm just wondering, you know, if I'm in the minority. I was gonna say if I'm the weird one, but I'm sure there's other people out. Like, I spend money. I don't even spend money on, like, experiences really that much. Travel, yes, for sure. Which is an experience, I suppose. But it's not like I'm out there going, like, you know, let's rent jet skis this weekend. I, like, excuse me, I'd like to report a heist. My deal with the devil has been heisted from me as a result of your shoddy architecture. Does that sound fair to you? Whatever, just give me magic mush. We'll call it even. You know, I just, I feel no desire to purchase, objects, if that makes sense. And part of that, I'm making it sound as if it's like this super enlightened standpoint. I don't actually believe that. I believe that I probably take it to the extreme, because were it not for my wife, I would probably be wearing, like, the same pair of shoes I wore when I moved to Vancouver, like, 7 years ago. With, like, holes poking out from all sides and stuff. You get the idea. I'm not much of a shopper, but I'm, you know, I'm very adept at the other part of shopping, which is grabbing stupid things and going, hey, look at this. Look at what's up with this. Who would buy this? Come on. Game of Thrones Catan edition? No offense. Statistically speaking, somebody watching this is gonna eat it on that joke. I apologize. Anyway, after a little bit of shopping, teleport me, you cowards. I went to the movie theater, saw Detective Pikachu. You know, I'm trying to live that positive life. I did not think Detective Pikachu was a very good movie. I was reasonably, like, I admire it, because it, you know, really, it didn't have to go where it went, if that makes sense. Like, the first live-action Pokemon movie very easily could have just been, like, cashing in on nostalgia, a retelling of the stories from the original, you know, Gen 1 games or something like that. It would have been safe and, you know, reliable and probably, like, a little boring. So the fact that they went in this bizarre direction, I actually think is very admirable. Where the, you know, some of the Pokemon can talk and they look like hyper-realistic in kind of a cool, gross way. I'm actually, like, very for that. But, you know, the story itself didn't really grab me, a little bit by the numbers. Maybe by the numbers is not a great way to describe it, but, you know, I didn't find myself invested. I will say, two things that gotta happen. First off, as a result of this movie, Psyduck should be everybody's favorite Pokemon. Psyduck is out here. As a kid, I didn't understand Psyduck. He's stupid. I don't like him. He doesn't even shoot a laser beam from his mouth. As an adult, I'm like, dude, Psyduck is the most realistic Pokemon. You know what Psyduck's thing is? He's living his whole life just trying not to get so stressed out that he causes a scene. That's his whole thing. I had lost recollection of that before I had seen this movie. Literally, like, his whole deal is... Oh, let's do it. It's been a long time. His whole deal is just, you know, trying to keep everything copacetic in a situation where everything's flying off the rails. I think in that way, Psyduck is the most relatable of all the so-called Pokemon. Secondly, British national treasure Bill Nye is in the movie, not the science guy, the one who played Philip from Shaun of the Dead. You know, is Sean's stepdad. My man, I don't know what he deserves. There's no Oscar for, like, just go with it. You know what I mean? But, you know, at least give this guy, like, an MTV Video Award or whatever. Because the lines that my man is saying, despite being in his mid-80s, and obviously having, like just having to be told by the scriptwriter is like, okay, so here's the dramatic line that you're gonna pop in this situation. That's good. I mean, I wonder how much training... I'm not insulting Bill Nye when I say this, I think. I wonder how much training he had to go through just to understand what the heck, you know, how do you even pronounce Pokemon, you know? I think maybe he deserves a Nobel Prize in cinema for going along with this. And he gave it his all. He gave it 130%. Not 110, that's for cowards. Hey! Well, I mean, we're taking a lot of this. We might take it all. I just want to see if maybe. Thank you for the all stats up. Much appreciated. And we're out. We shouldn't be out. Let's go check out our shop again. So yeah, I don't think it was bad. I would say it's a 5 out of 10. That doesn't fall in the badness range for me. I would say that is an average film. Would I recommend, seeing it at the multiplex? Well, can't in good conscience suggest that while John Wick 3 is in theaters, which I have not seen yet. It's irresponsible of me as a critic to suggest that by default, John Wick 3 must be better. All I'm saying is the press coming out of John Wick 3 seems mighty positive. But I think it's, if you can catch Detective Pikachu on video on demand, television, etc., etc. I mean this in the nicest way possible. People took issue with me giving it a 5. Oh, dude, you should hear some of my movie opinions. I think Transformers 1 is like a 3, okay? And that's not like... I know it's not a sacred cow. Whenever you insult the Transformers franchise, people are like, yeah, but the first one's good. Was it, though? Because I was 18 when it came out and I saw it in theaters, and I thought it blew. You might have been like 6. So I think your opinion is slightly... Anyway, you get the idea. I think a 5 is just fine. It's not like when we left the theater, I was like, what a prosaic display of storytelling. An insult to cinema I was like, it's cool. I mean, it's no Tim Burton's 2004 magnum opus Big Fish, but it wasn't a complete waste of time. Anyway. The art is really good. That's like it's like a pretty cliche story to some extent with a couple of, unique beats for sure. And then saved by let me rephrase, because I do actually believe that it's saved to some extent by its art. Reroll me once. I'll do that, and then we'll go with, I guess we're gonna reroll maybe forever. But I do think that at the end of the day, there's movies that are like for kids, and then there's movies that kids can enjoy. And I think as much as this might get me into the slightest bit of trouble, I think that Detective Pikachu is a movie that is for kids. This is a weird run. Let's hit our cursed room. We're going so quickly. Well, we're going relatively quickly. Yo, we have tarot cloth, obviously, because this is the first item in our queue. Excuse me, sir, I did not want to do that. Can I rewind time, please? Yeah, I mean, I think it's a movie that if, you go to see it with, like, your kid brother, who's, like, 11... He'll be like, yo, that movie was bereft of flaws. And you'll be like, I enjoyed it too. Without getting any more, complex about it. It was fine. That's my takeaway. It's also definitely, like, hands down the best video game movie I've ever seen. It is sad that the best video game movie I've ever seen is probably a 5 out of 10, but just the reality of the situation. I'll admit, I haven't seen the other one that people say is the best video game movie ever made, and that's the, 2007 Silent Hill. I hear that, that movie is relatively, it's not loved, but it's relatively well-liked. But I have seen half of the second Silent Hill movie, Silent Hill Retribution, I think it's called. And, I mean, it stars Jon Snow. That's terrible. Dude, there's so many, and by so many, I mean 2 Game of Thrones actors that have also been in video game movie adaptations. Because you know who was in the Tomb Raider movies? That's right. Jorah Mormont. A.k.a. Ian Glenn. I saw Tomb Raider 1, I'm embarrassed to admit. I mean, I was 12, probably? Maybe 13. I saw it in theaters. I mean, I've seen almost every video game movie. I'll admit, I haven't seen Assassin's Creed yet, and I haven't seen Tomb Raider. Because, you know, when I was a kid, I saw all the video game movies because I love video games. As an adult, I stopped watching them when I heard they were terrible because I value my time. And I stopped having the attitude that I had when I was like 8 years old, which is like the critics just don't understand the spirit of Super Mario Bros. I loved the Mario Bros. Movie as a kid. As an adult, it's horrible. Does that make it a bad movie just because it's only enjoyable by children? Yes, and this is a snobby attitude, but kids will basically by default like any movie made for them that's put in front of them. It's not a challenge to make a movie kids like. Mind you, the Super Mario Brothers movie also did traumatize me when they put Toad, who was just a man, inside of the de-evolution machine and turned him into a Goomba with a tiny head. Even to this day, it sort of gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's like they took a man and made him a machine. Like an automaton. I don't like it, dude. Anyway, we don't need to go down my list of horrific fates. You know what? Let's... yes, thank you. We're just gonna... this is gonna be a zany run. We're gonna reroll like crazy. I saw Tomb Raider in theaters, as an impressionable young adult. Why? Well, you know, you're gonna expect the obvious answer, which is like, you know, it was 2001. Angelina Jolie was like, you know, the hottest woman in the world. But really, it was just like, I was like, they made a movie. There's like a sense of obligation. If you're a fan of games, it was like, they're really doing it. They're really making, they're really giving it their honest try for a video game movie. So I thought, like, you know, I had to get out and support that. When I saw it, I was, even at that age, I was like, it's not really very good. And I saw Tomb Raider 2, and it's substantially worse. That movie is just horrible. Max Payne is probably, well, the Uwe Boll video game movies are really bad. And I say that with a hint of regret, because I actually, you know, I went to Uwe Boll's restaurant in Vancouver, and it's really nice. And this is the closest I've ever come to brushing with fame in my entire life. Uwe Boll came over, and, you know, he was in the restaurant enjoying some, you know, enjoying a dinner with what appeared to be a friend or business associate of his. He came over and was like, how are you enjoying the meal? And I was like, it's good. And then, you know, he was like, wait till you have the soup. You're gonna love it. And then the soup came out, and I was like, I love it. He's right. Now, you might say, did you bring up the fact that you've seen all of his movies? No, because that's unnecessary and honestly would be very impolite of me. You know, he's got a nice restaurant. It's like if I opened a restaurant and, you know, I was like, hey, try the soup, you're gonna love it. And then the person that was eating was like, hey, by the way, I hate your work. Just, it's extremely impolite, you know? We're not guppy yet, huh? Anyway, but, you know, House of the Dead is the best Uwe Boll movie, and it's like a 3. Dungeon Siege is like, is just laughable. But even then, the worst video game movie I've ever seen, without a doubt, is Max Payne, starring Mark Wahlberg, Mila Kunis, Olga Kurylenko. I don't even remember who else is in that freaking movie. Oh, that's a bad one. If you haven't seen Max Payne, you know, I consider myself somewhat of a connoisseur of, like, so bad they're good movies. No movie is so painful that I can't make it through. Max Payne is not even close. It's extremely entertaining in its badness, but it is truly awful. It's like a weird era of filmmaking where if you had like a reasonably successful video game brand, people would be like, I'm not gonna give you $100 million to make this movie. Don't be insane. I ain't ever heard of this maximum pain phenomenon. I'll give you $21 million to make a movie. And they're like, well, it's not really. All right, we can get We can get Jorah Mormont to play the male lead, but that's about it. Anyway. So I'm not insulting Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu is fine. There's nothing wrong with a movie that's average. A lot of people will probably like it more than that. A lot of people will probably be absolutely befuddled by it as well, which is kind of hilarious. And I support that. And again, moreover, I think it's surprisingly like brazen of the Pokemon Corporation to be like, yeah, let's make a live-action Pokemon movie and do it like this. I think that's cool. That's a Dragon Slayer doppelganger-esque artistic decision. Just because it didn't necessarily work out for me doesn't mean it's not admirable. Anyway, then we went out for some yakitori. What's yakitori? It's meat skewers, Japanese meat skewers. Delicious. Also, though, like the fastest. I mean, I've had it many times before in my life, and I'm trying to eat. like I gotta. For the purposes of my own vanity, I gotta eat like 180 grams of protein a day. So I'm pulling these skewers down like it's out of control. We have reservations for 8 p.m. Straight up. Hey, we don't care about like even bookworm here. Straight up, finish with dinner at like 8:40. It's the fastest sit-down meal I think I've ever consumed in my entire life. The entire process from like ordering to getting the bill was I don't think it was designed to get you out of there, but they're like, hey, you ordered the meat's here. And it's not exactly like a ton of food necessarily, so once you're done, you're done. And went home. That's basically it. I've been watching the show BuzzFeed Unsolved. I know people, a lot of people have strong opinions about BuzzFeed. Unsolved is like a true crime podcast sort of deal. It's a lot of fun. Find the two guys who run it are quite admirable, or quite humorous is the word. Admirable, I don't know. At least they acknowledge the weirdness in doing a comedy podcast that's also about unsolved murders that probably like ruined hundreds of people's lives, but like I think they get it. It isn't not funny though. I can't deny that. It's pretty much my Saturday. I mean, we were out for like 10 hours yesterday. It was crazy. By the time the 10 hours was up, I was like, I have to be home. Missed out on all my dang old Escape from Tarkov. That's okay. No. Dude, okay, we're not gonna die, well, we're not gonna die, almost certainly. We have not seen 9 lives yet, and we don't know what our HP is. That's the only thing that's got me even slightly concerned. So what I'm gonna try to do is just, keep us copacetic here, keep us on the level. I really can't complain about an Isaac run like this. I mean, we gave up a sure win to pick up the D Infinity, because we were definitely, like, in a pretty dominant position to begin with. But now, like, we still have a sure win, so that's nice. It's just a sure win that's a little bit more suspect to get to. It's gonna be a busy week. Let me caffeinate here. I need the caffeine today. It's gonna be a busy week. Kate and I are going away on at the end of the week, just for 5 or 6 days. Nothing too serious. Hey, I was talking to my parents. So we're going to Japan. We're going for 6 days. I can't bring this hypocrisy up to my parents, not because they would be offended, but because they wouldn't get the joke. Anytime I tell, so we're going overseas, 6 days, and they're like, that's like, isn't that a lot of travel to only be there for 6 days? And they're not necessarily wrong, but they're not right either. It only takes like 9 hours to get there. I mean, the only thing in between us is the Pacific Ocean, no big deal. But, the travel time actually isn't that bad. But my parents are also the same people who will have, like, a 5 p.m. dinner reservation, and they'll show up at 4:15. So, like, you want to talk about not getting the most value out of your... Okay, I don't know why I'm being so rude to my mom and dad here. You know what? It's because Mother's Day was last weekend. Mom had it too easy. Now it's time to put her on blast. Not like that. She's my mother, Austin. Okay, that's, hear me out here. Austin Powers, but Austin is our Austin. Team Unity Austin. You running it through in your head right now? Oh, I didn't, baby. You just told me. Dude, this run is terrible. Please let me re-roll it as soon as possible. Even my sad bombs, I mean, it's just too apt. It's making me sad. I don't know why I always cough like the way Kanye West sings in Celebration off of his 2005 album Late Registration. Ah ha 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 ha. I'll never do that again, I apologize. Okay. Homing tears definitely makes this better. See, you thought I was I was having a joke at your expense when I said that this run was a little touchy. It's still good, but oh my god. We only have 5 HP, no extra lives. We did kind of get screwed a little bit, you son of a gun, on our rerolls. Please. I mean, I appreciate the rate of fire for sure, but stop taking my damage. Stop. Man, there's really like no in-between, huh? Oh my god. You either have, I'll live with it. You either have 1.8 speed or you got 0.7 speed. That's alright. Just live for 2 rooms. Get the D4. I mean, we could probably win with this run regardless. We just gotta stop hitting ourselves with our sad bombs. Thank you. Much better. Much better. Yo. I'm not in a position to say no to Serpent's Kiss, mostly because it gives me an opportunity to go. One day that has got to be retired, but honestly, it's one of the most resilient jokes in my quiver. Because of the fact that anytime you get Serpent's Kiss, now you know it's good to fill at least 20 seconds of dead air, and you could actually have it go more than that, as I'm demonstrating right now, just by spinning it into its own little meta bit, like a Charlie Kaufman sort of deal. Why not? Anyway, that was my weekend. And the upcoming week, I suppose. In the realm of YouTube and Twitch, you know, we'll finish Katana Zero. I've heard it's only like, you know, 5 hours long, so that'll probably be done this week. Got some Tarkov with Dan that's already out. I don't know, it's weird to do like a live update in a series that has a backlog, because you're like, yeah, Katana Zero finished 11 days ago, Grandpa. Get with the new stuff. Well, you know, the new stuff will happen, you know, when I return. Mostly because I don't know what to play right now. Alright, let me out. Good run. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!